What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Paddy Pimblett not interested in Arman Tsarukyan fight. While Arman Tsarukyan may be interested in fighting Paddy Pimblett, given that Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira will be throwing down for the lightweight title, the baddie is not interested. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. In an interview with BBC Sport, the streaking Scouser responded to Tsarukyan's call-out, calling him, quote, an absolute tool, while suggesting that a fight between him and Justin Gaethje is a way more exciting matchup than a fight between him and Tsarukyan. I'm hoping to fight in Abu Dhabi in October. I'd love to fight Ilia anyway, but he's booked, so I think it's more than likely Justin Gaethje. No one cares about Arman Tsarukyan, and people actually want to watch Gaethje fight. People know it'll be an exciting fight, me versus Gaethje. Tsarukyan, he's just an absolute tool. And then it's me and Gaethje. One win away, and I'll be fighting for the belt. If a fight between Pimblett and Gaethje winds up getting finalized, everyone inside the top 5 at lightweight will be booked for fights, with the exception of Tsarukyan, raising questions about where the streaking contender goes from here as he looks to re-enter the title picture. Well, it looks like Arman Tsarukyan has seen the comments from Paddy Pimblett because he went on X and reacted to the situation, writing, "It was obvious you were talking trash with zero intention of backing it up. Your UFC career is built on handouts, hype, and shortcuts to the top. Who do you want to see Paddy Pimblett fight next, Arman Tsarukyan or Justin Gaethje?" Michael Chandler breaks silence on Conor McGregor fight leak. On Thursday, Michael Chandler teased some pretty massive news on Threads, simply writing, "Conor." Shortly after, the fan favorite followed up with another post, dropping a cryptic January 24th, 2026 date. While Dana White had recently stated that McGregor's long-awaited return would not be happening anytime soon, the posts from Chandler immediately got the MMA community buzzing. That same day, Iron Mike hopped on an interview with MMA Junkie's Mike Bond, marking his first interview appearance since his recent loss to Paddy Pimblett back in April. During the course of the interview, Chandler spoke about the situation, revealing that he was trying to speak the fight into existence by dropping the January date, which, in addition to being a Saturday, is he and his wife's anniversary.
We can't ignore the timing of what you dropped this morning on Threads, Michael, company man. I know they have the sponsorship with Threads now. 1/24/2026. Conor.
Well, that's my you know, what was really funny is I was actually sitting around with a buddy, and I was like, we had the same exact anniversary. So I looked it up. I was like, I wonder if by chance it's a Saturday, and then maybe the UFC would throw a show on a Saturday. January 24th is my wife and I's anniversary, and it just so happens to be a Saturday. So I was like, that seems like let's throw that out there. Let's throw that out there. Let's speak it into existence. January, the turn of the new year. Probably a new, some kind of new TV deal that these guys are working on.
As Chandler went on to reveal, he plans to take the summer off, but he's told Hunter Campbell that a fall return could be possible. Although he's still hoping that the McGregor fight will happen so that the two can settle their unfinished business, he's not losing sleep over it. Jon Jones fires back at Tom Aspinall and goes off on Colby Covington. There's certainly no love lost between Jon Jones and Colby Covington. Over the years, Covington has taken shots at Jones publicly on a number of occasions, and according to the former interim champion, because of it, Jones refuses to share a pay-per-view card with him. Now, during an interview with Vic Blends on the Deep Cut podcast, Jones was asked to name the most overrated fighter in the UFC. In response, Jones made it clear that Covington was his pick, without the heavyweight champion ever actually saying Covington's name.
Who was the most overrated UFC fighter?
Overrated UFC fighter. I could say his name, but it's really just because I don't like him. And saying his name gives him clout, which I also don't want to do. His initials are CC, and he's a total douchebag. And if you watch the sport, I think people will know who I'm talking about.
Covington wasn't the only one Jones took aim at this week. In response to a funny video that Aspinall and Craig Jones did poking fun of him, Jones wrote, "Rent-free," along with a coconut emoji and a palm tree emoji. While fans continue to speculate on whether Jones will fight Aspinall, the champion opened up on his mindset, explaining how a loss at this stage of his career would be downright depressing.
I don't think I can ever be a person who loves fighting as a non-winner. For me, I'm so connected to winning. It's probably not even healthy. You know, like I see fighters that take losses and they smile and they hug their wives and they, hey, better luck next time. If I were to ever lose, I would be devastated. I'd be angry and I'd be upset and depressed. And that's just my winning nature. And for me, it's do it with all your heart, do it at the highest level, do it to the best of your ability or don't do it at all.
The big question now is, if Jones isn't going to fight, what will it take for the UFC to strip him of the title? Israel Adesanya reveals Dana White advice before Sean Strickland fight. After picking up a victory over Alex Pereira and reclaiming UFC gold in November of 2022, Israel Adesanya wanted to defend his title in Sydney on the UFC 293 pay-per-view. As Izzy told Sean O'Malley during a recent video for his Freestyle Bender channel, Dana White tried to talk him out of fighting on that card, telling him that he should take some time off and chill out for a while. According to The Last Stylebender, he refused and ultimately went on to lose his title to Sean Strickland.
I felt the same way, but I was like, no, I have to fight in Sydney. I have to fight. I haven't fought in this side of the world in so long. And then Dana was like, listen, kid, you got enough money. Just chill out for a while. I'm like, yeah, it's not
for the Strickland fight?
Yeah. So I was like, nah, I went all stubborn. And then in hindsight, I'm like, maybe Dana was right. Maybe I should have just chilled. But again, look, I love these stories. This is how it's supposed to happen.
Adversity is a privilege.
Adversity is a privilege. Amen.
Shout out Volk.
Shout out Volk.
As Izzy indicated, however, much like Alexander Volkanovski said after his win over Diego Lopez, adversity is a privilege. Now, as the former champion revealed to David Goggins while the two were working out together back in April, as he looks to snap a 3-fight skid, he has his sights set on a rematch with Strickland. Sean O'Malley focused on grappling ahead of UFC 316. When footage of Sugar Sean O'Malley training with Israel Adesanya hit the web recently, fans questioned why O'Malley was training with Izzy when he should be working on his grappling. As the former bantamweight champion told Kevin Iola this week, he's been working on grappling and wrestling every day for the entirety of his 12-week camp, something that he wished he could have done leading up to the pair's first fight, but could not because of his hip injury. I wasn't able to do what needs to be done to fight someone like Merab Dvalishvili, and that's wrestling and grappling every day for 12 weeks. That's what I should have done last fight camp, but I just wasn't able to. I didn't have the preparation that was needed, and this camp I was able to do that. While there has been some concern about a toe injury that the champion sustained leading up to this fight, the Machine revealed during a media scrum this week that he thinks the MMA community is overreacting.
The number one question on everybody's mind is the status of the toe and how that's doing at this point.
As you guys see, no more black and blue. Still a little fat, but it's good, you know. As you see, I'm walking, you know. It's a little pinky toe, won't be any problem. Yes, I'm good.
After you posted that, did anybody tell you, like, Merab, what are you doing? Like, why are you putting this on the internet?
I agree. Yeah, that's how it was, but like my coach said, if it's something important, I'm not gonna post it. But that was like not important, you know. Like, I mean, like I said, I have 9 other toes, and yeah, I'm good.
So were you pretty surprised then to see the reaction? I think like people were like worried that you weren't going to be able to fight.
I agree. Like I was surprised to how much reaction was from people. Like react. Like everybody was like, guys, it's nothing really. Yeah, it was like it's nothing.
As Damon Martin joked in response, at least the champion discloses his injuries pre-fight. Whether the toe injury actually winds up impacting the champion come fight night, only time will tell. Joaquin Buckley sends a warning to UFC welterweights about Islam Makhachev. While Islam Makhachev may give up some size in moving up to 170, Joaquin Buckley thinks the pound-for-pound king will make the transition pretty seamlessly. Amid talk of Makhachev fighting Jack Della Maddalena for the welterweight title, Buckley spoke in an interview with Inside Fighting about the situation, issuing a warning to the rest of the division. The way he sees things, Makhachev's going to fit right in with the best of the best at 170. I think, compared to some of the welterweight fighters, he matches up very well. With his strong grappling, with his strong submission game, being able to be somewhat confident on the feet, he's going to give a lot of guys a lot of issues. That being said, I think he'll do just fine at welterweight. While Buckley's main focus right now is on preparing for his fight with Kamaru Usman on the UFC Fight Night Atlanta card, New Mansa also made it clear that with a win over the former pound-for-pound king, he believes he'll be next in line to fight the winner of the Makhachev-JDM fight. MMA community not happy with UFC fight announcement. On Thursday, reports emerged indicating that number 2 ranked bantamweight Peter Yan would be colliding with number 13 ranked Marcus McGee on the UFC's Abu Dhabi card at the end of July. Considering that Yan is ranked so high and is believed to be just outside of title contention, and McGee is just 4-0 in the UFC and has not faced a top-ranked opponent, the MMA community was puzzled by the news. One fan asked, "What did Peter Yan do to Dana White?" Another replied, "You can't convince me that the matchmakers aren't just pulling names out of a hat at this point." Plenty of others were left equally as confused. "This makes no sense to me, like at all." One member rhetorically asked, "There was nobody else for Yan to fight?" Some fans were left scratching their heads. I really like McGee, but like, what is this fight? What's the point? Others took matters into their own hands, playing matchmaker. What is the UFC on? So Umar now? Hell, Daniel Marcos would have been the perfect option, or the number 2 ranked. McGee is coming up for sure, but this is ridiculous matchmaking. UFC, hire your boy. One added, what Yan should be fighting Merab next for the belt, and O'Malley should be fighting Sandhagen in a title eliminator. This dude is all the way at the bottom of the rankings and is unknown. As another concluded, this has to be the most random/ridiculous matchmaking in UFC history since Khamzat Diaz. While Yan had been angling for a fight with Umar Nurmagomedov, according to the former title challenger himself, he's looking to return in October. In a post, he wrote, "I'm getting ready for October." Considering that Yan has called out Nurmagomedov for a title eliminator, perhaps we'll see the winner of the Yan-McGee fight collide with Umar later in October. Dana White receives new UFC lawsuit. A new antitrust lawsuit has been filed against the UFC by former light heavyweight contender Phil Davis, alleging that the UFC's contract unlawfully suppresses competition in the MMA industry. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. Phil Davis's lawsuit is based on the UFC's use of restrictive long-term contracts that include clauses such as arbitration agreements and class action waivers. These provisions hinder the fighter's ability to negotiate with other promotions and limit their earning potential. His lawsuit wants to introduce a 1-year termination clause in all UFC contracts, letting the fighters exit their agreements without a penalty after a year. Phil Davis's attorneys later released a statement on the situation and explained why they were going after the UFC. The named plaintiff in the suit is Phil Davis, a professional MMA fighter currently under contract with a would-be rival MMA promotion. The suit alleges that the UFC impairs the ability of would-be UFC competitors to attract a critical mass of top-level MMA fighters necessary to compete with the UFC at the top tier of the sport, said a firm chairman and a lead lawyer for the fighters, Eric Kramer. "We intend to prove that the UFC engaged in a predatory scheme to undermine would-be competitors to the UFC, which the suit claims had the effect of maintaining and enhancing the UFC's dominance, and thereby impairing the careers and pay not just of the UFC's own fighters, but also of professional MMA fighters like Mr. Davis, competing for MMA promotions across the MMA industry." The lawsuit seeks no money damages. Instead, it seeks an injunction to prevent the UFC from continuing its allegedly illegal scheme by shutting down the UFC's allegedly anti-competitive behavior. The suit intends to create the condition for free and fair competition among professional MMA promotions, which in turn would boost the careers and pay of professional MMA fighters across the sport. "I am proud to stand up for professional MMA fighters to unlock the UFC stranglehold on the entire sport," said Phil Davis. The lawsuit seeks to build on the success of Berger Montague's class action lawsuit against the UFC, which resulted in a historic $375 million settlement for a class of over 1,100 former UFC fighters following a 10-year legal battle for economic justice. Berger Montague and Mr. Davis are committed to continuing the struggle to vindicate the rights of professional MMA fighters outside of the UFC who have been harmed by the UFC's allegedly illegal scheme. What are your thoughts on this new UFC lawsuit? Let us know down in the comments below.